Greetings everyone, this is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with another installment of Shared Trait Spotlight. And this time we'll actually be wrapping up our look at the shared traits from Absolute Carnage and taking a look at symbiote-based shared traits. Now, there are a handful of different ones. However, they didn't first appear in the Absolute Carnage set. The first one actually dates back all the way to Superior Foes of Spider-Man, with sets of Venom, Carnage, and Toxin figures. So now the trait has gone through a small change of late, but originally the trait was the alien symbiote trait that you see there. Which basically gives the character plasticity and shape change and enables them to break away automatically. Okay. And this would appear, and that was kind of the go-to. In fact, in Earth X, we got the Prime Venom. She's got it. But then there's the super rare Venom, who actually does not have it. Well, not directly. We'll get, and I'll explain here in a moment, as this Venom actually has a means of getting it, but he does have a means of getting it. Basically, he comes equipped with the Venom symbiote, which grants plasticity, shape change, and automatic breakaway. And has also kind of made it something of a rather valuable piece of equipment. Automatic breakaway is actually quite nice. Also, all of the Venom chases in the set included the alien symbiote trait. Now, when Absolute Carnage came along, however, it was decided that maybe the trait was a bit much. And so, it became simply symbiote. Well, partially. In part, it became symbiote. And symbiote would focus on the it was basically the same trait, but as this young Ghost Spider here, slightly different. It is missing something, namely the automatic breakaway, and that became the standard. I honestly don't recall which version the Agent Venom figure from Fantastic Four has. I think he might have the old version without the automatic breakaway, but I'm not positive. Anyway, so Absolute Carnage also had another symbiote trait. That trait was Symbiote Codex Hunter, which is found on some of a few characters, including the Carnage Minion, Spider Carnage, and all of the Primes. Now, the way it works is this. It grants plasticity and shape change, so it includes the symbiote trait. When this character KOs an opposing character after resolutions, heal 1 click. If that opposing character had the Codex keyword, heal 3 clicks instead. Okay, alright. There's one other symbiote-related keyword. I say symbiote-related because most of the characters on it, or they have a symbiote, or they are part of a major symbiote storyline. That trait is Maximum Carnage, and it's the Maximum Carnage alternate team ability as a trait instead of a ATA. Also, Maximum Carnage keyword comes back, which is what the ATA keyed off of. So Maximum Carnage reads as follows. Once per turn, when this character hits, after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to up to 2 opposing characters that weren't hit but are adjacent to a hit character. Okay, alright. So it allows you to get some potential splash damage in as well. So, we did kind of build a team with some of these. Also, if I remember correctly, all of the Primes have the Maximum Carnage keyword as well, and trait. But anyway, so first off, we've got a 300-point Codex team. The Codex keyword being to refer to those that have had a symbiote. The keyword comes from the Absolute Carnage story, where it turns out that Carnage was trying to awaken Null, and more on both of them later, and figured he could do so because all of the symbiotes on Earth were so far away from the hive mind they were cut off. So Venom figured if he consumed enough codexes from other symbiote hosts, he would be powerful enough to wake up Null, and then Null could come to Earth and destroy the Earth. So our 300-point codex team. First off, we've got 2 Carnage minions. I probably could have just swapped, instead of using 2 of them, I probably could have just used She-Venom, but I thought it might be more fun to use them. So anyway, so the Carnage minions come in at 30 points. They have the Maximum Carnage and Symbiote Codex Hunter traits, as well as the Codex Maximum Carnage and Monster keywords. And looking at the dial, we've got a special speed power for all 3 clicks, 4-armed killing machine, which grants flurry and sidestep. We've got precision strike, combat reflexes, and battle fury. So they are unhindered by shape change. They can, you got the whole flurry thing going on. Precision strike, so if they hit, they're gonna hit. Now, if the hit character rolls a 6 on super senses, well, okay, they're not gonna hit them. But yeah, damage can be transferred. If it's reduced, it still does 1. So yeah. Next up, we've got Scream. Scream is one of the Life Foundation symbiotes. She comes in at 40 points. This is her non-prime version. The uncommon and rare primes were Life Foundation symbiotes, Scream and Riot. There are 3 others, I believe, that still have not been made ever in Clicks. Phage, Lasher, and I honestly cannot remember the other one's name. But yeah. Anyway, so Scream, she comes in at 40 points. She's got the Codex and Monster keywords. She's improved movement towards elevated and hindering terrain. She's got the Symbiote trait. The Prime version of her has the Codex Hunter trait. Looking at her dial, we've got a couple clicks of sidestep to begin with, followed by a few clicks of flurry. On attack, we open up with special power Killer Haircut. Blade's Claw's Fangs, Giant Reach 3. When Scream uses Blade's Claw's Fangs, the result is a 5 or a 6. After resolutions, remove an action token from her. Okay, alright. Then we got a couple clicks of super senses, followed by a few clicks of combat reflexes. For 40 points, she's really not bad. But you really are depending on those shape-changing super senses rolls to keep her alive and kicking. And that's not always as plausible as one might think. Next up, we've got Spider Carnage. Spider Carnage also comes in at 40 points. And he's got the Codex, Maximum Carnage, and Monster keywords, as well as the Maximum Carnage and Symbiote Codex Hunter traits. Looking at his dial, we open up with a few clicks of special speed power 6-armed terror. Grants him leap, climb, and sidestep. As a power action, he can make 3 close attacks, the maximum damage value of 3. Okay. That then clicks into regular to flurry. On attack, we open with precision strike, followed by Blade's Claw's Fangs, and we got super senses on damage, defense, followed by combat reflexes. We get a few clicks of battle fury. Now it's interesting to note he doesn't have battle fury for the whole dial, as in the story in which Spider Carnage is from. This is Miles Morales with Miles Morales with the same thing that made the Carnage minions on him. He was constantly fighting to regain control of himself. So, anyways, now whereas most of these figures have been from Absolute Carnage, now we've got a couple from the Absolute Carnage Fast Forces, starting with, well, the man himself, Carnage. Not the best looking sculpt for him, even I will freely admit that. But Carnage comes in at 75 points. He's got the Codex, Frightful 4, Maximum Carnage, Monster keywords, as well as the Symbiote and Maximum Carnage traits, and improved movement in towards elevated terrain. Okay. Looking at his dial, we open up with a few clicks of charge, followed by a couple clicks of flurry, and a couple clicks of sidestep. On attack, we open up with some blades, followed by some steel energy, and then back to blades. We've got Indomitable on defense. Then we've got super senses, followed by toughness, followed by a click of regeneration. On damage, we open up with some exploit weakness, and then the rest of the dial's battle fury. Okay, all right. In fact, if he comes in at his 50-point on his 50-point starting line, he just skips over the exploit completely and goes right in battle fury. Finally, for this team, we've got Ghost Spider. Now, on Earth 65, Ghost Spider's home Earth, she was exposed to an artificial symbiote, which is now her costume. It also can break up into individual spiders that she has a mental connection to. I want to say Eddie Brock was involved, but I can't remember the specifics on that one. And it would be her Earth's Eddie Brock, not the Eddie Brock everyone knows and loves. But anyway, Ghost Spider comes in at 75 points. She has the Spider-Man Ally team ability, though no one else has the team ability for her copy with it, as well as the Codex, Spider-Man Family, Celebrity, and Monster keywords. We got the Symbiote trait, as well as improved movement towards elevated terrain. Looking at her dial, we get a few clicks of charge, followed by some sidestep, super swings, followed by some incapacitate, Indomitable on defense, and super senses, which then gives way to combat reflexes, and then regeneration. She starts and ends with Outwit, and we get some mid to late dial close combat expert as well. She's she's not bad. I honestly kind of would say that the boosted version is a little bit better, but the fast forces version is not bad. Which brings us to our more thematic teams. First off, we've got ourselves a Codex team, Null and his minions. So who is Null? Null is an ancient space god, god of the void. Darkness is his purview, basically. And it was recently revealed in pages of King in Black, Return of the Valkyries, that he killed a Celestial at the dawn of time for having the audacity to light up the cosmos. He killed a Celestial. He created the symbiotes. They revolted against him and imprisoned him in what seemed to be basically a planet made up of themselves. And, well, then he woke up and retook control of his creations. Anywho, so our Codex team starts off with Scream, who we have been over. 40 points, improved movement, elevated hindering, Codex and Monster, Symbiote trait, Blade of Giant Reach, then regular blades, Sidestep and Flurry, Super Senses, and then combat reflexes. Next up, we have the other Life Foundation symbiote to finally see a figure, Riot. And yes, Riot was the villain in the Venom movie, though a loose adaptation of Riot. So Riot, this is the Prime Riot, by the way, comes in at 50 points. He has the Codex, Maximum Carnage, and Monster keywords, improved movement towards elevated hindrance terrain. He has the Maximum Carnage and Symbiote Codex Hunter traits. So yeah, he lots of damage, lots of healing. Looking at his dial, we get a few clicks of charge, followed by a few clicks of sidestep. On damage, on the first few clicks, we got his special power Hammer Hand, which grants him Quake and Giant Reach of 2. When Riot uses Quake and hits, actual resolutions give each hit character an action token. Alright. On defense, he's got Indomitable. Power-wise, we get Toughness, followed by Combat Reflexes. So we get some Battle Fury start of the dial, which then gives way to Close Combat Expert. Okay. Alright. He's going to be good for hitting things, basically. Next up, we've got She-Venom. She-Venom comes in at 60 points, has the Codex and Monster keywords, as well as improved movement in North Hindering Terrain. She's got the Symbiote trait, as well as another trait, Along Came a Spider. When She-Venom hits, after resolutions, a hit character gains immobile until your next turn. Okay. So looking at her dial, first off, she is a secret identity character for Mary Jane Watson, but we're not going to really bother about that. Looking at her dial, we get some running shot followed by some sidestep. We get some precision strike followed by incapacitate, and then Blitzclaw's fangs. We get some toughness followed by combat reflexes on defense, and then we get some mid-dial perplex. Okay, alright. Now we're going to take a massive jump when it comes to points. And for our next last two characters of this team, first off, we've got Absolute Carnage. Now that's a Carnage sculpt. So Absolute Carnage here comes in at 200 points. He's got the Codex, Maximum Carnage, Monster Keywords. He's got improved movement, ignores elevated and hindering terrain. We get the Maximum Carnage trait as well as Spreading My Symbiotes Across the World, which gives him Flurry and Giant Reacher 3. When he KOs an opposing character 25 or more points after resolutions, you may generate a Carnage minion in that character's square. Okay. He also begins the game equipped with the Carnage Symbiote. And the Carnage Symbiote gives plasticity and shape change to the equipped character, and when the character KOs an opposing character after resolutions, heal 1 click. If they have the Codex keyword, heal 3 instead. So he basically also has the Symbiote Codex Hunter trait thanks to the Carnage Symbiote. Looking at his dial, oh boy, we've got a long run of charge followed by which then turns into a few clicks of sidestep. We've got some precision strike, some mid-dial blades, some late-dial seal energy. We've got Indomitable, Invincible, then Invulnerability, then Toughness and Super Senses. On damage, we open up with a special power, Fear and Loathing, coming for you. Battle Fury, Leadership, Probability Control. Other characters with the Maximum Carnage keyword modify attack by +1. Okay, so most of this team is actually going to get +1 to attack. Then we get some mid-dial Perplex and some late-dial Battle Fury. Okay, alright. Finally, we've got Null himself. King in Black. God of the Void. Creator of the Symbiotes. Null comes in at 250 points. Has the Power Cosmic Team ability as well as the Codex, Maximum Carnage, Cosmic, Deity, and Monster keywords. We got 3 traits. First off is the God of Symbiotes. Transcend Plasticity, but it's Breakaway +3 and opposing characters with Breakaway -3 instead. Shape Change, which succeeds on a 4 through a 6. Okay, so 50-50 there. When he KOs an opposing character after resolutions, heal 2 clicks. Next up, Umbrakinesis, which grants Null Stealth and Smoke Cloud is free, but he generates obscuring terrain markers instead. Which, to be fair, when the new rules kick in, obscuring and hindering are pretty much going to be the same thing. As a free action, Null can be placed in a square of obscuring terrain within 4 squares. Okay, and finally we have the first symbiote, my Shadow. Null may start the game with the all black the Necro Sword equipped at no cost, and that's all black the Necro Sword, which grants all black grants him Giant Reach of 2, and when this character makes a close attack, opposing characters can't use Shape Change or Super Senses and can't reduce damage below 1. Ouch. Looking at Null's dial, oh boy. We've got a click of charge, then some flurry, then charge and flurry, then sidestep. Nothing on attack, sadly. Defense-wise, we open up with Invincible, then Impervious, then Invulnerability, then Regeneration. Damage-wise, we've got a click of Outwit, followed by a few clicks of Probability Control, and then mid-dial, Outwit, then a few Probability Control. He's definitely a finesse figure, though, and the trick to beating him out, part of the trick to beating him at least, is blocking his line of fire to obscuring terrain. Anyway, we've got a team of villains, so who should fight these villains? Why? None other than Spider-Man and his allies. So we've got ourselves a Spider-Man family team designed largely to take on the symbiote team, and to be perfect, it could probably do a pretty good job. It even does include a few characters with symbiotes. So, without further ado, we've got Ezekiel Sims. Ezekiel comes in at 50 points. He's got the Spider-Man ally team ability as well as the Spider-Man family and mystical keywords. We've got improved movement towards elevated hindering terrain, and we have a trait, Protector of the Spider Totem. Barrier. Barrier is free, but only to place one marker adjacent to a friendly character of the Spider-Man family keyword. Okay. Looking at his dial, it's a bit of a short one. We have some charge followed by some plasticity, some super strength. On defense, we've got a couple clicks of super senses followed by a couple clicks of willpower and a late dial click of combat reflexes. Damage wise, we open up with probability control, which then gives way to close combat expert. Okay, alright. Not bad. Next up, we've got Black Cat. Black Cat comes in at 65 points. She's got the Defender's team ability as well as the Defender's Heroes for Hire, Marvel Divas, and Spider-Man family keywords. She's got improved movement or elevated hindering terrain, movement on speed. We've got stealth, which gives way to flurry. On attack, we got Blade's Lost Fangs for a little bit. On defense, we've got combat reflexes for a little bit. On damage, we open with probability control, which then gives way to outwit. And as she's an older figure, we can't look at her dial to see where everything falls and what her combat values are. Next up, we've got Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Miles comes in at 65 points, has the Spider-Man ally and Ultimate's team abilities. He's also got improved movement in order elevated terrain, as well as Avengers, Champions, Shield, Spider-Man family, and Ultimate's keywords. We have a trait, Dimensional Travel Watch, which we actually will be using. The Dimensional Travel Watch, that's that right there. It grants Miles facing teleport, and when he hits an opposing character, if no character has been placed this turn after resolutions, you may roll a d6. On a 3 through a 6, place another friendly character with the Spider-Man family keyword adjacent. Okay. Looking at Miles' dial, we open up with special speed power a slightly different genetically engineered spider, which is in plasticity, sidestep, and stealth. Get a couple clicks of charge, then back to the special power. On attack, we open up with a special power Shocking Web Blast, which gives him precision strike, and when he is given a move action and moves 5 squares or less, after resolutions he can use Incapacitate as range at no cost and may use it to target all opposing characters within range and line of fire. Then we get a couple of clicks of super strength, then back to the special power. Defensively speaking, we first half of the super senses followed by combat reflexes. Damage wise, we open up with a couple of clicks of outwit, and we close out with a couple of clicks of shape change. Not too shabby. Next up, we've got Venom Ghost Spider. Venom Ghost Spider comes in at 70 points. She's got the Codex Spider-Man family, celebrity, and monster keywords, as well as improved movement towards elevated and hindering terrain. We have 3 traits. We got the symbiote trait. We've also got Call and Help from the Venomverse, which works the same as the Dimensional Watch, but for characters with Venom in their name. And, well, we've got one option there, and we'll get to that option here in a second. Finally, we march to the same beat. Giant Reach 3. If Venom Ghost Spider has no action tokens, she can use Battle Fury. If she has exactly 1 action token, she can use Flurry. If she has 2 action tokens, she can use Stealth. Okay. Looking at her dial, we've got a few clicks of charge, followed by a few clicks of sidestep. On attack, we go back and forth between Blaze, Claws, Fangs, and Quake. Defensively speaking, we start off by going back and forth between super senses and combat reflexes before finishing off with some regeneration. She also has Indomitable, so built-in willpower. Yay. Moving on, we've got Spider-Woman. Maddie Franklin version. She comes in at 75 points. Has the Spider-Man ally team ability, as well as the Spider-Man family and mystical keywords. We have a trait, Superhuman Subsonic Speeds. At the beginning of your turn, roll a d6. This turn positively modifies speed by half the result. Okay, alright. Looking at her dial, we open up with hypersonic speed for a couple clicks, followed by a few clicks of charge. And she can get up to +3 on those speed values. So we're looking at possibly having an 11 speed on her first click. That's not too shabby at all. On attack, we start off with nothing, but she clicks into the special power Venom Blast. Poison, but deals damage even if moved or placed this turn. Okay. Defensively speaking, we open up with a special power, Power from the Gathering of 5. Gives her toughness, energy shield deflection, and willpower. Okay. We get some super senses, followed by some combat reflexes. And then on damage, we have some overly dial shape change. Okay. Alright. Next up, we've got Spider-Man from the Absolute Carnage Fast Forces. Spidey comes in at 75 points. He's got the Spider-Man Ally Team ability, as well as the Spider-Man Family Reporter and Scientist keywords, and improved movement ignores elevated terrain. We have a trait, Marvel Team Up. When establishing teams, choose a named keyword a character on your starting force has. Spider-Man gains that keyword. Okay. So, which is kind of why he's one of my favorite Spider-Mans at the moment. That whole, give him a pick a name keyword and he's got it. Basically, this is the guest star version of Spider-Man. We need a similar trait for Deadpool as well as Wolverine as well, I might add. Anyway, looking at Spider-Man's dial, we get a couple clicks of charge, and we get some mid-dial clicks of running shot, followed by a couple clicks of flurry. On attack, we open up with Quake, we get some mid-dial incapacitate. On defense, we open up with a couple clicks of combat reflexes, then super senses, back to combat reflexes, and finishing out with super senses. On damage, we open up with special power Quips and Thwips. Leadership, but succeeds on a 4 through 6. That is nice. And that then gives way to a couple clicks of Perplex. Alright, okay. Next up, we've got Venom. And this is the Prime Venom once again. Coming in at 80 points. He's got the Spider-Man Ally Team ability, as well as improved movement or elevated hindering range, and Codex, Maximum Carnage, Synergism to get Spider-Man Family Monster Reporter keywords, Symbiote Codex Hunter trait. Looking at his dial, we open up with special speed power, Driven Mad by Null. Gets some charge, but you don't have his speed. When he uses it after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to each adjacent character, friendly and opposing. Then we get some regular charge, followed by flurry. On attack, we open up with special power. Or we open up with, not a special power, we open up with Blaze Claw's Fangs, which gives it a Quake, and then we get some Steel Energy. He's got Indomitable. Power-wise on defense, we've got Invulnerability, followed by Toughness, followed by the special power, the Symbiote is Taking Over. It's a stop click, and grants Toughness. As a free action, roll a d6. On 1, give Venom an action token. 2 through 5, choose one to last through your next turn. Impervious for regeneration. 6, heal 2 clicks. Okay. And then on damage, we get some mid to late dial close combat expert. Okay. And finally, we've got the Human Torch. Human Torch comes in at 100 points. He's got the Fantastic Four team ability as well as the Fantastic Four, Inhumans, Spider-Man Family, Celebrity, and Herald keywords. We've got improved movement ignores characters, as well as a trait, Flame Trail. Once per turn for all characters with this trait, when Human Torch moves after resolutions, choose a character he moved through or adjacent to and deal it 1 penetrating damage. Okay. Looking at Torch's dial, on speed he goes back and forth between running shot and poison or hypersonic speed. On attack, we start off going back and forth between energy explosion and special power Flame On, which grants poison, but he can use it even if moved or placed. However, eventually he goes from alternating between Flame On and Energy Explosion and Flame On and Pulse Wave. Defensively speaking, we've got a long bout of initial deflection, and we end with the damage with a special damage power. Ben, where are you? Stop, but only if other friendly character with the Fantastic Four keyword is on the map. Initial deflection. So likely we'll be giving Spider-Man the the Fantastic Four keyword. On damage, we go back and forth for a little at first between range combat expert and enhancement, and then we get a final late dial click of enhancement, and that's our team. Oh, we do have a couple additional pieces of equipment to give out. First off, for Venom, we'll be giving him the Blood Axe. Blood Axe has grants battle fear, exploit weakness, steal energy, so that'll definitely come in handy for Venom. Then for Spider-Man, we've got our longtime favorite of the Octopus Arms, which grants Flurry, generation of 2, as well as improved movement and ignores elevated hindering. But yeah, that's actually going to do it for this shared trait spotlight. Like I said, I'm fairly certain this is our last shared trait spotlight when it comes to Absolute Carnage. We still got one more. We still have. We'll still be looking at the doing a starter versus booster video for Absolute Carnage. Then we'll be starting on the shared traits from House of X before moving on to Future Foundation, which drops in about a week. Sometime this coming week. Anyway, that's all for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal will be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.